Lewis Hamilton has finally started to feel at home in his new car, the Ferrari SF-25, and the breakthrough became clear after the Bahrain Grand Prix. After 4 rounds of the 2025 Formula One season, Hamilton has made it known that he's beginning to understand both how to set up the SF-25 and how to drive it effectively. For a driver of his caliber, this is a crucial moment, not just for his performance but also for the direction of Ferrari's season. Many fans and analysts have waited for a turning point like this since he joined the team, and Bahrain may have been exactly that. If we take his statements at face value, we can see clear signs of progress. His comments about his approach, his setup changes, and his understanding of the car align with what we saw during the Bahrain race weekend. Most importantly, it reflects in the lap times he was able to produce. Hamilton showed significant improvement in his average pace relative to his teammate Charles Leclerc, something that wasn't the case in the earlier rounds of the season. This is key to understanding his growth because, until now, his performance had been inconsistent and below expectations. At the start of his Ferrari journey, Hamilton encountered several hurdles. The disqualification in China was a major setback, and the setup challenges within the SF-25 added to the complexity. On top of that, the unusual circumstances surrounding the opening rounds of the season didn't help. From the wet conditions in Melbourne to the sprint race format in China, he had limited opportunity to get fully acquainted with the car. These conditions didn't allow Hamilton to follow a regular pattern of learning, testing, and applying that knowledge. However, Bahrain marked a turning point. Hamilton began to demonstrate a better understanding of how the SF-25 behaves and how to push it to its limits. His remarks after the race give us a deeper look into how he's approaching things differently. One of the most revealing things he said was about how he studies the setup process during the weekend. He compared his approach to Leclerc's, noting that Charles usually starts with a setup and sticks with it throughout the weekend. In contrast, Hamilton had been experimenting, starting in one direction and shifting around a lot, which made it hard to get a consistent feel for the car. This zigzagging approach might have been part of the learning curve, but now Hamilton appears ready to adopt a more stable strategy. He understands that consistency in setup, especially when learning a new car, is vital. During the Bahrain GP weekend, he got closer to Leclerc in qualifying, though he still wasn't fully comfortable. He admitted the settings weren't quite right, and he intends to do a better job in future weekends. This self-awareness is critical, especially in a sport like Formula One, where small adjustments can make a big difference. Hamilton also opened up about how different the Ferrari car is compared to what he was used to at Mercedes. After more than a decade with one team, switching to Ferrari meant dealing with a whole new set of driving demands. Everything from engine, braking systems, to engine settings required a different approach. For instance, he mentioned that he's now using engine braking, a concept that was completely foreign to him during his Mercedes years. On top of that, Ferrari uses Brembo brakes, whereas he had been using Carbon Industries (CIS) brakes for over 15 years. These are not small changes. They completely alter how a driver feels the car and reacts in different racing situations. The SF-25 demands a much different driving style, and Hamilton admitted it's taken time for that to sink in. However, now that he's beginning to grasp the necessary techniques and settings, we're seeing the first signs of him adapting. It's not just about knowledge, it's about applying that understanding during race weekends. That transition period is always tough, especially for drivers with well-established habits. But Hamilton appears to be over the steepest part of that learning curve. Let's take a closer look at his performance during the Bahrain GP. If we break it down into stints, an interesting trend emerges. Hamilton had the least amount of tyre degradation on the medium compound across the entire field. Only around 0.05 degradation. That's virtually no degradation, which is an incredible feat in Formula One. It's a skill he's been known for throughout his career, being easy on his tyres, especially during the Pirelli era. Just before the end of the previous F1 generation, he was among the best in conserving tyres while maintaining race pace, and Bahrain suggests he might be getting back to that level. When we compare lap times to Leclerc, Hamilton was on average only 0.3 slower per lap. That's a huge improvement compared to the earlier races. It tells us that not only is he getting better at handling the SF-25, but also that his driving style is beginning to align with the needs of the car. Even though there's still a gap, the progress is unmistakable. One area that still needs work is qualifying. Hamilton has struggled during qualifying sessions, and that trend has been noticeable for the past few years. He has always been known for his race pace and racecraft, but in this ground effect era, he seems to struggle to extract maximum performance over a single lap. His late braking style, which served him well for so many years, doesn't seem to suit the current generation of cars as well. It could be a fundamental limitation brought about by the aerodynamic design and downforce behavior of the ground effect cars. This might explain why even during his final seasons at Mercedes, he often appeared a step behind George Russell in qualifying. As Russell grew more comfortable in the car, his one-lap pace improved, while Hamilton's remained steady. This doesn't necessarily mean Hamilton lost pace. It could just mean the car's characteristics no longer suit his preferred driving style, at least in qualifying scenarios. That said, his race performances remain strong. The sprint race in China is a perfect example. Hamilton took pole on Friday, delivered a flawless drive on Saturday, and led the field with confidence. That kind of performance is a reminder of the racecraft he still possesses. In full race conditions, where strategy, tire management, and adaptability play a larger role than raw speed, Hamilton remains as effective as ever. It's important to remember that adaptation takes time. Every driver goes through it when switching teams, especially when the new car demands a very different style. For Hamilton, the transition from Mercedes to Ferrari wasn't just about a new team, it was about unlearning years of habits and developing new ones. That process involves trial and error, and it's clear that Bahrain was a moment where those trials began to produce results.